everyone. For Tricoms.com, I'm Ashley Manning, and this is Careers in Cannabis. On this show, we sit down with staffing agencies, cannabis companies, and other industry professionals to discuss employment opportunities in the burgeoning cannabis industry. For most of 2020, expanded federal unemployment benefits helped keep workers afloat, and those who were unemployed recently lost the extra $300 a week and have described it as challenging to re-enter the workforce. Today's guest offers a solution to that challenge. She has over 15 years in recruiting. She's staffed for companies such as Whirlpool, Kellogg, Starbucks, and now the fast-growing cannabis industry. On this episode, we talk with Jennifer Wolf, founder and president of Wolf Recruiting. Hey, Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Hi, Ashley. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you here. Let's see, I am in Southern California. Where are you joining us from?
I am in Denver, Colorado.
Weather's all good. Fires?
Not too much, a little bit, but better than last summer, so we're good.
Okay. Fingers crossed that it continues in that direction for you.
Yeah.
So, especially all the cannabis farmers out there in Colorado, I'm sure they wouldn't mind a calmer season.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's get right into our interview. I'd love to start with asking you about your role in the cannabis industry and what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. So I am the founder and president of Wolf Recruiting. We've actually been in business for 10 years, just celebrated our 10-year anniversary, and started more in traditional CPG. And then about the last 3 years, we've been in cannabis. And I had been wanting to break into cannabis for a really long time, and was just so excited to get a chance.
Yeah, in terms of the CPG market, I know what are some of the brands that you've worked with and sourced for in the CPG industry? I think that's important.
No, definitely. Thank you for asking. I mean, I have worked for really large companies like Kellogg's, Starbucks, Whirlpool, and then just, really small. I've done stuff in the restaurant industry. So yeah, all types of companies and
okay.
Spaces.
And cannabis specific to the past decade, or just how long have you been staffing cannabis?
Cannabis has been about the last 3 years.
Okay. You liking it?
I do. I love it. Yeah.
Is more of a market in cannabis than there is in the CPG at the moment? The demand, maybe?
It's probably equal. I'm still doing some stuff in CPG, but definitely a little more focused on cannabis right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What makes Wolf Recruiting unique compared to the other recruiting firms? You're the first, that I'm kind of going to preempt this a little bit, because you're the first person I've talked to that offers a staffing service that's unique, your business model.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think a couple of things make us stand out. One is my history in CPG. I think so many people that get into cannabis staffing maybe don't have that type of background. So I kind of already really know about consumer product goods. And then I think the other thing that makes me, our company unique is that, we do traditional search work, like so many of them, but we also basically can provide, a cannabis company a contract recruiter. So say they're just starting out, but they have several positions they want to hire. We can kind of come in, almost act as like an in-house recruiter, and then help them staff up.
There's something unique though, as a contract recruiter. You're not basing your fees, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you're not basing your fees off the salary that you get the position. You have an option?
Correct. Yes. We have an option to do just, again, traditional search where it's, based a percentage of a person's base salary, or we offer the contract recruiter model is a company would pay us basically an hourly rate. So if someone worked 20 hours a week, they'd pay us for the 20 hours, 40 hours a week.
That's perfect. Yeah. I think that, because based on all the shows that I've done, that's one thing that stood out to me about Wolf Recruiting. Not that there's anything wrong with the other staffing firms, but no, I know that is one complaint from an applicant's perspective is, I'm seeing that these recruiting companies, or a company's perspective, I mean, these companies charge, a very large fee based on salary, and not a lot of cannabis companies are in that position to pay that. They're already giving up a lot for that salary and then have to give more up to someone else just because they found that person. There's a lot of work that goes involved. It's definitely deserving of that percentage, but having an option for hourly can really help the smaller cannabis companies, especially as they're growing. as much money as they can save, the better. And so thank you for offering that service. I wanted to make sure we got that out there on this interview. If you're a company that's listening and need that, a little bit of a smaller fee, there are options out there. So thanks for sharing that. My next question for you is now the right time to get into the cannabis industry, and why?
Oh, I definitely think now's the right time. I mean, the growth is just crazy big. I mean, I've seen one of my clients has pretty much doubled, their staff in the last year. And as more and more states become recreational and medically legal, it's just definitely the right time.
Gotcha. This was something I read I don't want to name the magazine, but they put it out there and they said, experience in cannabis doesn't always equal the best. And since you work with CPG people and they're looking for work, you have another option for them outside of CPG, but they don't have experience in cannabis. So would you say that statement that they made may be false?
No, I mean, I definitely think it's true. I think a lot of companies want outside experience. And say if it's marketing, they want someone that's maybe worked in brand for a big CPG, or manufacturing, they want somebody that maybe came from like a world-class manufacturing company and kind of bring a new perspective to the cannabis industry.
Great advice, because a lot of people that listen to this show are curious about cannabis, want to get into cannabis, and I think they're on the fence a little bit as to whether they should or they shouldn't. So those two questions that you just answered should give them great insights. In terms of expectations to entering the cannabis industry, what are many cannabis companies in startup mode? Should they expect to wear 10 hats no matter what company they apply for, whether it's a large company or a small company?
No, definitely. I mean, I think even, the smallest startup, even to a company with 1,000 people, they're still a little bit in startup mode. So I think you have to be able to like work long hours, wear multiple hats, do what's asked of you. Maybe it's not in your job description, but definitely you got to be able to put in the work.
Yeah, that's not my job. It doesn't go over too well in the cannabis industry, because you'd be surprised what you can find on YouTube, Googling. I think they're coining the term Google it. There's so much information out there that you can at least take the initiative to try to figure it out. And if you can't, then say, hey, I tried to figure it out and I wasn't able to. So I need advice on where to go. So awesome. Well, are you seeing also rapid advancement within companies, or is that still slow evolving? Like once someone gets in, they're there and they're not advancing fast, or are they advancing pretty rapidly?
I think it just depends on the company. I mean, if companies are growing like crazy, I think they definitely want to promote from within. But some companies, are going to be 20 people and stay 20 people for a while. So I think it really just depends on the company.
Okay. I'll add my 2 cents, and from the feedback I've had on the shows too, is they're seeing an increase in advancement, but adding your points, it depends on the company. So I know I've got promoted. I've been in the industry for 5 years and got promoted. Show up every day, you do your job, take initiative, and you don't advance fast, but you're seeing that growth because you're getting closer to management, and then closer with management, you get closer to corporate, and closer to corporate. Now you're able to sell yourself to really get the position that you're looking for.
No, definitely. I think, that's a very good point.
Well, let's talk about some open positions that Wolf Recruiting has available.
Yeah, we have a few different things at a few different locations. So right now I have a facility in Toledo, Ohio, that's kind of just starting up. So they haven't even, they're just about to plant. They haven't done their first harvest or anything like that. So they really need, we just hired a head grower for them, but they really just need that production staff. I mean, they've got positions in packaging, they have positions in MIPS, and so they need really somebody with production experience. They don't even have to have cannabis experience. So maybe even somebody that's just passionate about the industry and wants to get in and work the hours and kind of learn the business. So they've got multiple openings.
And for that, so it's production, so it might range from management level to production worker.
Correct. Right now they desperately need production workers, but they are going to be, I mean, I think in the next few months we're going to have many more positions open at that facility.
Okay. What else you got?
Yeah,
Keep shooting
yeah,
away.
yeah. So I've got another facility, same thing, another manufacturing facility in Centerville, Maryland, and they have,
Ooh.
I know, so Northeast, they have a EHS coordinator, so environmental health and safety coordinator. So really that person, and they don't have anyone at the facility doing safety. So really someone that can kind of come in, put together safety programs, work with OSHA regulations. Again, they don't have to have cannabis experience. I think it's nice to have, but they've got to have some, they can be somewhat junior, but they will be the subject matter expert at that site.
They'll need to figure it out.
They got, again, like all of these jobs, they got to like figure it out. And
It on that note, I mean, in terms of environmental health and safety, there's not regulations, they put regulations in place, in my opinion, to protect the illegal trade of cannabis, not so much about the environmental health and safety aspect of it.
right.
So you got to think outside the box. It's not going to be like, well, just look at regulations and see what they're telling me I have to do, because then that's all we have to do. Some companies have that mentality, but that's not gonna drive a sustainable industry. So definitely an outside of the box thinker would need to have for that position.
Yes. And again, someone that's, it's a newly created role there. I mean, they got to be able to come in, wear a lot of hats, and there's, be able to put process in place. I think that's a big thing with all of these, especially on the manufacturing side of the business. There's not, they need help with putting in processes and standard operating procedures and all of it. So
My favorite.
yeah.
Creating workflow, because it helps get the company to the next level. And no one's saying that your workflow is right or wrong until you try it. So you get these positions, you get in, you work it, you figure it out. And if what you're doing isn't working, you change it and you try something else. You do what you can the best. And I think people are afraid when they hear these roles, these are serious roles.
Yeah.
But they're afraid to take that initiative because they don't know. Well, guess what? Nobody else in the industry knows either.
Right. Well, I mean, everybody's learning, all levels of the business are learning as they go. And so it's really interesting to see these companies that are scaling up.
Fast too.
So, mm-hmm.
Fast. Keep firing off some more
Yeah,
positions that you have.
and the other big thing I'm looking for is almost just general cultivation talent at all level, but definitely people that have experience. Maybe they have a degree in horticulture and they've worked in cannabis, or maybe they even haven't but want to get in the business. So one of my clients is putting together almost like a training school, and so they're going to go to New Jersey, train for a couple months. So that first 6 months, they're just going to be traveling and they'll be put up at the different sites, learning the business, and then they'll be placed at one of their sites at different level. Maybe it's a supervisor, maybe it's an assistant head grower, maybe it's a head grower level. But yeah, they're growing like crazy and expanding and just need just really strong cultivation talent. So it's got to be someone that can travel, which everybody can't do. So for that first 6 months, they're going to be, again, like I said, maybe they'll be in New Jersey for a couple of months. Maybe they'll be in Illinois or just different sites, and then we'll be placed somewhere. So that person's got to be open to go anywhere.
That must mean they are an MSO, multi-state operator then.
Yes.
Oh, hey, advice, guys. That is those are the companies if you're looking to scale really quickly, I think those are the companies you want to get in with for sure. In terms of cultivation, then if I didn't have cannabis experience, I've grown at home for the past 20 years of my life. How does someone put that on their resume? Do they send you pictures? Here's what I've grown in the past. They're not an official cultivator, but they've been growing good cannabis for a very long time. How would they put that on their resume?
I mean, maybe almost put it as, I've seen some people put it as their own business, even if it's not, their own business, but yeah, just make it known, or put it in a cover letter and really write out, be like, I don't have professional experience, but I have, I've grown at home for this many years, and there's definitely companies willing to give that person a chance. I mean, I talk to people that do that. They've grown at home. They've never done anything automated. And then I've talked to the people that have, degrees, have worked in like state-of-the-art facilities. So I think it just, you just want to find a place that's willing to give you a chance. And I think those companies are out there. You got to be persistent.
It's definitely something I've got inquiries about. Hey, I know how to grow bomb ass weed. How do I put that on my resume? I'm like, well, you wouldn't exactly reference it that way.
No, and you
But
need a professional looking resume.
for 100%. And that, hearing, I think that adds to the stigma when people are referencing it as weed. This is cannabis, soon this is now going to be the cannabinoid industry, not so much the cannabis industry either, depending on which direction we really go. So I try, in my response, I'm very blunt with people and say, you got to turn it into a professional way. And they will respond, but this is weed. And I'm like, no, that is not going to help you advance in this industry and help you grow. There's culture. Culture is important to the industry, but when you're searching for a position, you have to be very professional. Just because it's the cannabis industry does not mean it's okay to show up to your interview high and put on your resume, you grow. Oh, I've seen it all, though. I've seen it all, and I'm sure you've heard it all and seen it all as well.
Oh, yes. I mean, some of the resumes I receive, I'm like, I still need a professional resume. You can't just send
Do you
over
tell people?
Yes, I definitely
Okay,
tell people. I
great.
mean, I need it to look, and a lot of people will use Indeed and just send over the Indeed format, but I really take the time, put together your own resume. Don't just take
Yeah,
the easy way out. It makes a difference.
I agree. And especially as this industry is emerging, like now companies are looking for people with more of a business background. They're starting to say we want a 2-year, 4-year degree. And so, getting in now, getting your foot in the door, if you don't have those offerings, is a great time to prove yourself and show your worth, regardless if you have a degree or you don't have a degree, and starts with professional looking resume.
Yes, I mean the degree doesn't mean you don't, still look for jobs, but the degree is becoming more and more important.
Yes, yes. Let's cover another job and then get into my last few questions.
Yeah, I mean those are the main ones I have that
Okay.
truly relate to cannabis. I do have I am looking for a payroll person for a cannabis company in Chicago.
Okay.
And again, I just need someone with solid payroll skills, and they have multi-site, multi-state experience. That it's even better. But
Do they need to for payroll? Do they need to understand any of the tax implications of cannabis or anything? Just there to workflow.
yeah, just there to process payroll.
Gotcha.
Um, they don't need cannabis experience, but definitely they need solid professional,
Okay.
4+ years of payroll, I would say.
Makes sense. Makes sense for sure. Well, thank you for sharing those open positions with me. I'd love to ask you my favorite question that I ask everyone, and it's what would be some big sister advice that you would give someone who's considering or maybe on the fence with having a career in cannabis?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I mean, I definitely think now's the time, but I think it takes a lot of like persistence and dedication. I mean, you've got to network. I think you just, whether it's going to in-person networking events, whether it's even just connecting with people on LinkedIn, just meet those people and just stay after it. It can take time. I mean, even for myself, I'd wanted to get in for probably a few years before I even kind of broke into that scene. And so I think that's the biggest advice. And just again, being willing to put in the work. You're going to work long hours. Again, you're going to wear multiple hats and maybe even be open to relocation. I mean, I think if you're open to relocation, there's so much happening.
Right.
But if you live in, if you're not willing to relocate, it just kind of depends where you're at if the opportunities are there. So
Yeah. And especially if you take a position with an MSO, you might be in Maryland one day, and guess what? You might be in another state another day, and got to be open to that. But this is life, and welcome to the cannabis, having a career in cannabis.
no, definitely, yeah, those would definitely be my top things to tell
Awesome.
somebody.
I always enjoy hearing the big sister advice because there's people have so many opinions about working in the industry, and from a recruitment standpoint, I always like to hear the take your recruiting hat off and what would you want them, your big sister or your little sister to know or little brother to know? So thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that.
you're welcome. But the
Uh,
reward is definitely there, so it's worth it.
long game. Got to
Long,
think long
yes,
game for sure.
see the big picture. Yes.
Awesome. So how can you be reached? How can our listeners follow you? What's the best way to get in touch?
Yeah, you can. Our website is just wolfrecruiting.net. You can find us on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook as well. And then you can also just reach out to me personally. My email is really easy. It's just jennifer@wolfrecruiting.net.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jennifer, for your time today. I appreciate you and the growth of your team as well that I have heard recently. So
Yes.
keep up the great work, and I will be in touch with you soon to have you back on to talk about some more opportunities, probably post-harvest.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you. Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching our channel. Click here to watch another episode of Careers in Cannabis and more great shows and interviews. To find more cannabis industry reporting, insider stories, and to stay up to date on the latest trends, make sure you subscribe and keep up to date with the Trichomes Community app. Download it now, and we'll see you there.